What's up YouTube? How y'all doing? My name is Beaker and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going over the good, better, and best LMGs of Season 5. Not too much got changed as far as weapon balancing with the LMGs, so this list is going to be somewhat the same as Season 4 Reloaded, but I did actually swap out the Bruin for the PKM. Reason being, I think the Bruin isn't really like a true LMG. When we think LMG, we think of the 100 round belt fed mag, just throwing out as much hate as possible. And the Bruin is kind of that weird hybrid where it has the 60 round clip in it as opposed to the belt fed, which made it feel more like an AR. And honestly, even though the TTK is amazing on the Bruin, I find myself using it less and less because the ADS time is so bad. Even with attack laser, it's just not that great. And then you get horizontal bounce. And then you want to throw the commando on it to get rid of that, but then the ADS time is even worse. And it's just, they need to do something with that aim down sight because it's bad. Like it's really bad. It shouldn't be that bad with, again, a 60 round mag on it. So those are my thoughts. That's why I made the switch. So at number one, still gonna be the MG82. It is the fastest TTK LMG in the game right now. I know technically the Fin is better, but let's be honest, that thing is kind of a niche gun. It's not like, yes, it melts, but it has so much visual recoil. Like it's just hard to even see where everything's going. The recoil is extremely easy to use because it just goes straight up, but it just bounces so much in the optic that it just doesn't. It's not that viable. It's fun to use from now and then, but even though the MG82 is hard to use, I'm still rather going to run the MG82 over the Fin. So that's why I use that, but it's definitely worth a mention. Just like the Bruin's worth a mention as well. Number two, this one's tough. I'm actually going to give it to the PKM as opposed to the Stoner, which is number three, only because the PKM does actually have slightly better TTK values and it does actually reward you for hitting headshots a lot more than the Stoner does. However, the Stoner is extremely easy to use, that getting those more practical TTKs is more likely. But if you're a good player, you hit shots with PKM, you're going to outbeat a Stoner. So that's why I use that. So with all that, let's go ahead and jump over to True Game Data and check out the stats, and just let me tell you exactly why I think these guns rank where they're at. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop on over. All right, so we're going to start this off just like we did last time. These are going to be the fastest TTKs you can get with these guns. It's going to be all headshots and already ADS. So there's no ADS times built into this at all. Number one, PCAM. Like I said, it has amazing headshot multiplier, so it's really good. Right after that is the Stoner, and then third is the MG82, which you're like, what the hell? Why is the MG82 number one? Again, these are unrealistic TTK times. You're not doing this unless you're a hacker, which if a hacker has a PCAM, everyone look out. So we can kind of get in the more practical ones here, which is going to be chest TTKs, which now we're going to see MG82 is going to take over. PCAM right after that. And then slowly behind it is the Stoner, but like I said, the Stoner is just so easy to use. You're more likely to see this TTK value as the PCAM's got some bounce to it, so it's not really gonna. You're gonna see this a little bit less in the traditional or like the standard player base. But again, if you're a good player, it definitely rewards you for that. Especially like what we just saw with the headshot multipliers. You're gonna make up some time if you can. And then yeah, like I said, the Stoner is right on after that. Gonna add in some ADS times here, which on a LMG you don't really think about too much because it's more of like, you're using this more long range. You're not really using this thing mid range because recoils can get you caught up. But we'll go ahead and take a little look at it anyways. Still, MG82 is right there. PKM is close the gap for sure because the build that I'm going to show you guys is this thing. ADS is so fast. ADS is faster than my XM4 build. At least it feels like it. So that's where it makes up that time, and then right after that is the Stoner, which I have some stuff on here as well to increase that ADS time. So with that, since I'm talking about the builds, let's go ahead and hop over to my builds of what I have for the LMGs. All right, so like I said, at numero uno, we're going to have the MG82. It's going to be the agency suppressor to increase bullet velocity, damage range, and also keeping us off the minimap, and also just a little add benefit, reducing that vertical recoil, which we need every bit of with this gun. Task Force barrel, again, just has the best recoil control out of all of the barrels. Action Arms 3x optic, just so we can get the best acquisition on our target to be able to hit some shots. Field Agent Grip, again, for more recoil control. And then I actually run the Raider stock in this thing because without it, when, like, if you're ADSing and you're firing and you're trying to move into cover at the same time, this thing moves so slow when you're shooting and you're ADS strafing. So to make up for that, I went with the Raider stock. If you, I guess, don't care about that for some reason, you can swap out the Raider stock for the elastic wrap to get you some aiming stability and ADS times. But again, with this gun personally, the way that I'm getting beat out, if I'm hitting my shots at least, is going to be just the movement, not being able to get in cover fast enough. So it's not ADS times. So because ADS on this gun actually isn't that bad at all. So that's why I run the Raider stock over that. And it's already got 100 rounds. You really don't need more, but I guess if you wanted more, run the 125, not a whole lot more, but I know some pros use that when this thing was super popular. So that's going to be the build of the MGD2. Number 2, we're going to have the PKM, so monolithic suppressor, pretty much the same thing in the agency, increased bullet velocity, damage range, and keeping us off the minimap. Doesn't have any recoil reduction properties though, but not a big deal. Extended barrel because it has the best bullet velocity, damage range, and reduces the recoil even more. Tack laser to get us that better ADS speed and also aiming stability, which is very important. VLK for the best optical zoom. And then the snatch grip, which is a unique attachment for the PKM. Normally with Modern Warfare long-range rifles, we run the Commando because it doesn't hurt our ADS times, and it has the best recoil, stabilization, and stability, so you have less of that horizontal bounce, which is important. But with the snatch grip, it has better recoil control than the Commando, and it actually decreases your aim down sight speed. So again, that's where this thing makes up so much of its time in TTKs, is that it's very snappy. It's very, very aggressive. And that's it. You really don't need, obviously we're out of room, but honestly, with a 100 round mag, there's really no need for it. ADS times are already amazing, so you don't really need a rear grip. Perk, I guess you can run a fully loaded class with this and maybe ditch the tack laser. And the stock on like long range AR for Modern Warfare doesn't really help it as much as like the colder ones do, so I never really run a stock. So that's the build for the PKM. Whoops. Stoner, pretty much going to be the same as it was before. Agency suppressor for all the same reasons. Task Force barrel, I was running the match grade, which is just pretty much the same as the Task Force, but less pros, or like values of pros, I guess is a good way to say it. So it reduces the vertical recoil, but not as much as the Task Force, but it also doesn't hurt your ADS penalty as much as the Task Force. So it's kind of weighing those two. I don't know what it is, but I used the match grade on one of my games, and it just seemed like it had a lot of horizontal bounce. So I just went back to the Task Force, and it is a complete laser beam still. Axle Arms 3x optic. The airborne elastic wrap just to give me more aiming stability, and the ADS is definitely a plus. On this one, the mobility is really good, so I don't really feel the need to run the radar pad. It does kind of suck to not have a full 100 rounds, just having 75, which I know is, granted, more than what we're used to with the 60 round mag with like an AR, but obviously the reload's a lot more with the Stoner, so it's tough, right? But me personally, 75 is plenty, and when I pair it with like a Bullfrog, I'm usually pretty good. But if you're not okay with that, I would probably swap out from the elastic wrap to just the standard 120 mag, because it doesn't hurt your ADS times. Fast mag, again, don't really see the point because you still have 75 and you just reload faster. You still gotta have bullets in your gun to shoot people, is kind of my philosophy on it. So I'd rather, if you're gonna use a mag slot, just use the 120 instead of relying on a reload. But my personal opinion, 120 speed mag, this thing actually does reload really fast, but then it hurts your ADS time. So again, just kind of weighing different things, but me personally, I run it with that. So those are the builds for the good, better, and best LMGs of Season 5. Thank you guys for checking out at the very end. I definitely appreciate it. If you guys have made it this far, make sure you guys like and also subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. Check out all my other videos as well, where I go over the ARs and SMGs of Season 5. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.